Hello everyone and welcome to an unboxing of the new releases for the Batman miniature game from March. They just started shipping at the end of March there and have finally arrived for the Batman miniature game with a little bit, as with last time, thrown in extra from the DC Universe miniature game as well, because they just released Red Lanterns and Red Lanterns are very fun, so I had to get them as well. But as you can probably tell just at a glance, well, one, they've changed the colouring of the 3rd edition packaging from just a straight up yellow to kind of like a gradient, which is quite nice looking. The release is the Suicide Squad theme, the James Gunn one, not the other one that we won't speak about. So we have the core crew box, or team box I guess, because it is still just the Suicide Squad team, the 2 additional extras, and then a sort of edition, because I think he can still be used in Suicide Squad. We also have the Vigilante to look at there as well, because he's in the Peacemaker show, although really it's more so based on the one from the comics, hence it being part of the Dark Knight series, not this series. The one in the Peacemaker show, the only thing he has in common with this guy is their name. So, as per usual, we're going to look through the resin, see the kind of quality we're getting, check out the packaging. I have noticed, I think they've changed the wording. I was looking at the back of this. Let's just pick King Shark here, because King Shark is brilliant. It now says download the official BMG app to create your crew, check the rulebook and more. I think that's different wording. It no longer mentions downloading the character card from the website, implying to me that they're just not going to bother doing that anymore. Which means you can't print your own, you have to use the app, which is a terrible idea if so, and will mean that we have to rely on third parties to produce the cards to print, which sucks. But hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully I'm reading into it too much because it's just a wording change. But without further ado, we're going to start with the Suicide Squad box, that is, and then get through the rest. Alright, let's get in a bit closer to the box here and we can see who is in the box based on the front cover. We've got Harley Quinn, Bloodsport, Thinker, what's he called again? TMG, something like that. The Weasel is probably written on him somewhere, I just can't see it. Because the rest of them have their, oh yeah, they're TDK, that's the one. Ratcatcher 2 and Polka Dot Man, who also just recently had a miniature, well, relatively recently. We can take a look at their assembled cells on the back there. Does it have the same message about the, yeah it does. Yeah, specifically saying to use the app. 350 rep team. It's not a crew. The Suicide Squad is a team. Let's crack this open and see what we've got. And how neat and tidy it is. It's pretty tidy. That's surprising, honestly. Everything is bagged. But is it bagged in a way that makes logical sense? You know what? I think it is. I can't hide my surprise. Based on like buying from Night Models for like 2 years now. So this is a bag of all the bases and all the scenic bases that go on the bases. So there's not much to show off there. But that is correctly, and then is this the bodies? It is, it's segmented how it should be. That's amazing. Let's take a look at some of the actual resin though. So we'll take a look at the bodies because that's the important part. I assume this last bag is all the various hands and head options as well. I think, does Bloodsport have a head option? No, I think it's Idris Elba or bust. Yeah. Oh, I totally forgot to mention Sebastian the Rat. I apologise to Sebastian the Rat. He is the other option. Now, I am seeing that Javelin's spear, which Harley Quinn is using, has a very clear, like, 45-degree bend that it's not supposed to have because it's a Javelin. So that's going to need to get straightened out, unfortunately. But other than that, the rest of the hands and whatnot look fine at a glance. But let's take a better look at some of the bodies, starting with TDK. Let's try and zoom in on these and hopefully get a better look. Looks good to me. Doesn't look like it even needs any cleaning, honestly. That one seems perfectly fine. Harley Quinn with a very frilly dress, because that's the one she's wearing during the like palace segment of the film, where she's fighting with the javelin. This version of Harley has great stats for being a murder machine, incidentally. That javelin is double blood. She's still as fast as ever. There's a bit of cleanup needed on the back here. Doesn't look like too much though, other than the javelin she's holding, unfortunately. Ratcatcher 2, she is holding up her rat controlling device in her pose, and she's surrounded by rats on the base with the scenic base option used, of course. Looks pretty clean. Is this Bloodsport's body? I believe so. No idea how I'm going to do the colours for that, because it has quite a unique, like it's sort of gold but sort of brown. I don't know, it's a really weird armour colour. I like it, but I've got no idea how on earth I'm going to replicate it. Oh, is this Sebastian the Rat? It is. Looks like he's wearing a turtle shell. I don't think this is going to get into to focus really, but oh, kinda. Sebastian the Rat. Now I know I sometimes bring up their cards on the app, which I guess I could do, but their cards were up from like the start of March at this point. In general, they all look pretty decent. How they work together as a team on the table with the same stipulations that Suicide Squad has, where they've got to get a certain number of victory points in a given turn or someone's head explodes, remains to be seen. I kind of wish that rule would just go away. So this is the Thinker's body, not much to see here, it's just Peter Capaldi in a suit. What do you expect? And then down here, the Weasel, who seems like some of the choices to include in this box is very strange. The Thinker and the Weasel. The Thinker isn't even part of the Suicide Squad for one, and the Weasel was part of, and TDK was part of the A Squad. They get, well, spoilers, they get murdered in the first 5 minutes of the film. Although I guess the Weasel does survive. But do you really want someone on your team that's murdered 35 children or whatever it is that Rick Flag says the guy did? I don't know. There is some interesting roles. I would say this Polka Dot Man, for instance, he's a lot cheaper than the other Polka Dot Man miniature that's already in the game. He is not as good, but the other Polka Dot Man I don't think can be used in Suicide Squad. Bloodsport seems really good. As I say, this version of Harley Quinn is very killy. She seems really, really good. Ratcatcher 2, she can make her rat swarms gang up on people, but the rat swarms themselves are not that great, so it's a good way to get poison on someone if nothing else. And she and Bloodsport can protect each other as well, which is quite interesting, just specifically each other. If I remember rightly, Weasel seemed quite good, and TDK is very good because he can put down suspect markers far away thanks to his detachable hands. As for the resin, the Javelin is the only problem I see, and the fact that it was bagged up correctly is amazing. Because usually you'll get no bags, or you'll get some bags and they're randomly used, and sometimes bodies are thrown in with limbs that don't even go together. This shows a greater deal of care, as does the look and size of the box. I know I don't usually like comment on packaging, because who cares, but this is nice packaging because it doesn't take up as much space as their previous designs for 3rd edition packaging. I mean, they have been doing this size for a while now for 3rd edition, but rarely for full crews. The Mr. Freeze one barely fit in the box, from what I remember, but in this case it worked out pretty well. So let's look at the first edition you can get for this wave of Suicide Squad releases, and it's of course Nanaue, aka King Shark, the version of him voiced by Sylvester Stallone from the Suicide Squad, sadly not in the box. So if you want him, 1, you have to buy him separately, and then 2, you have to drop a couple of people if you want to make room for him. If I remember rightly, he's like 80 rep, which is cheaper than the existing King Shark from 2nd edition. He's not as good in terms of just general rule set, in my opinion, as the other one, but he has more fitting rules and thematic rules, which I appreciate based on how he is in the film. And he is also bagged up as well, and he's a one-piece sculpt. That's great. So we can look at the whole thing basically. Why not? He's adorable despite being a man shark that eats people. Come on, let's get him in focus. Look at him. He just wants to wave hello at you. It's beautiful. He's so friendly, despite wanting to eat people. When he has like the cannibal rule, I think he has, what's it called? Blood scent. I think that's what it's called offhand. So he wants to hit people, and then if they already have blood on them, he gets the bloodlust. And all the Suicide Squad members, the ones in the box, him, I think Peacemaker as well, that we'll talk about in a second, they all come with Starro themed thematic bases. So you can see a little Starro there, and he is just going to need to slot in there nice and easy. Yeah, it's pretty smooth. I think I might need to trim it down a little bit. So oh no, actually no, it goes in snug. So honestly, despite being just a one piece, no assembly required essentially, besides sticking them on the base, the base is a bit warped. Like you can see, that's going to need to be stretched out maybe, or at an angle, but he's basically done as is, and it's a great look. Now it is a bit strange because this King Shark and an alternative sculpt to the Peacemaker that didn't look as good were originally meant to be stretch goals or add-ons to the Arkham Asylum board game that Night Models were going to put on Kickstarter, which has been delayed until who knows. My guess is they just wanted to get these out, so they did a Suicide Squad wave and included these in them. Although, as I say, the other Peacemaker sculpt was totally different. It didn't look anywhere near as good as this one that we'll look at next. Or they got into some licensing issues, is my only other guess. I have nothing, no proof, but they might have tried to include it, and then DC were like, no, that's not what we agreed to give you the license for these characters for. They're connected to the movie, so it's probably more complicated. So my only guess is it has something to do with that. Either they were impatient, or the deal was not what they thought it was regarding putting them as part of a Kickstarter under their other company name of Night Games, or whatever it is that they use for their Kickstarters. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Nanaue, not as good as the other King Shark in my opinion, but infinitely more adorable looking, and that's more important. So next we have Peacemaker, who was also part of the Suicide Squad obviously, but not only do we get Peacemaker in a much better pose than the original one they showed off, with a no toilet on his head option if you want him just to have no helmet. He also comes with Eagly, who I believe is from the TV series. I haven't seen the TV series, I've seen some clips on YouTube I watched. Wasn't really that big of a fan. It's too strongly had the thing that I didn't like about the Suicide Squad movie, which I liked in general, just to be clear. But way too much of James Gunn being able to swear, so he just uses swearing as the punchline instead of being witty, which I don't like. And the scenes I watched from Peacemaker was a bunch of John Cena swearing, and that's not funny to me. Kind of boring, but you know, apparently the show is good. Haven't watched it. Again, we have it fully bagged. Oops, they get a letter through the door. We have our scenic bases for Eagly and for Peacemaker. Not separated. Now I was curious. Oh no. Okay, is Eagly's legs on his base? Where are we? Which one is his? Is it the one with the tire? Oh, here we go. Yes. Okay, so Eagly's legs and butt are on there, so if you did want to sculpt him a bit differently, you're going to have to make your own legs because he kind of slots in like that. More cleanup needed on there, a little bit on the leg. There's the two head options. Look okay to me. And then we have him doing his salute. Don't really need to zoom in for that, I think. Now, does he have a starro on any of these bases? He does not. He does not. Okay. So he's not as themed around it. He's maybe more for the TV show, which is also why they released Vigilante, even though it's not really the Vigilante from the TV show. But either way, oh, and the base needs trimmed down a little bit as well. I like how the base looks though. I don't know why, but that just seems like a really well rendered tire. Like I like the effect on it. It's got the correct texture. Don't know what else it's supposed to be. Like a broken baseball bat and a crowbar by the looks, and a can. So yeah, Eagly you can only bring if you bring Peacemaker, and Peacemaker has some rules that work with Vigilante. He's got a really, really powerful gun. It's double blood, but it's got high caliber and the one that lets you roll 2 strength dice. So the strength dice go away last, meaning you're almost guaranteed on 2 2+s to do 4 blood minimum. So he's got a really good gun. He is, I think he also gets stronger if any of your team go down as well, offhand. So yeah, he seems pretty good. He takes up a lot of funding because of his gun. He's powerful. He can be used in a Batman crew as well, which is what I forgot to mention. He doesn't just have to be in a Suicide Squad or Unknown. He's Batman crew affiliated, and so is Vigilante. And speaking of that, let's move on to him. So Vigilante, part of the Dark Knight series. Yep, and showing one of the very old comics on the back here. Complete with his nunchucks. Let's take a look at the sculpt. Works well with Peacemaker, as I was just saying, even though it's not the same one really. And is also Batman affiliated, even though he does like murdering people. What's he meant to be standing on? I think it's just a stone. Maybe a grave? Some kind of tomb? As far as I'm aware, the original Vigilante, because I think a few people have had the mantle, but Adrian Chase, I think his name is. I think he meets an unfortunate end at his own hands because he keeps on going too far. He's one of those like Punisher types where criminals should be murdered instead of tried, etc. And then he keeps on going too far, oversteps the line, realizes he has, I think he shoots himself, but I might be misremembering. But as far as this version on the tabletop, he seems like a pretty good brawler. Kind of from memory, a sidekick stat line. I think he has a gun as well actually, but it's blood stun. Either way, and he's roughly sidekick costed as well. I think he's like 70 rep, maybe 60. It's been a little bit. But the sculpt looks fine, a little bit of cleanup required. Not nearly that much though. In general, it looks decent to me. And the back, oh, what is that on his back? Is that a chain? I'm not sure what that's meant to be. See the official paint job. Oh, of course, it's the chain for the nunchucks. So when you put the hands in, it looks like they're connected to either side. He's doing the whole Bruce Lee thing. Okay, now I understand. And yeah, it's just a chunk of plastic, but that probably means it's, or resin rather, but it probably means it's not that warped. You know, it looks like it sits okay on the base. And he should sit on it pretty well as well. Yeah. So in terms of the Batman stuff, that is it. Actually, no, it's not. Independent of this release, I skipped the February releases for the Batman miniature game. I was kind of just waiting on them. I wasn't sure if I wanted them or not. Picked them up separately, not directly, and they just happened to arrive on the same day as this stuff. I'm not going to unbox them because they're from February. But I can at least show you some other stuff you'll be seeing on the channel at some point related to Batman. It's the 3 Jokers wave releases. So the 3 Jokers themselves, the clown, the criminal, the comedian, that's the one. The 3 Jokers is one of my favourite more modern Batman stories, incidentally. I highly recommend it. It is very enjoyable. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Sadly it's not canon, but it's still very good. And then some like zombie Joker henchmen from 3 Jokers. Gaggy, who makes a reappearance in 3 Jokers, and this version of Gaggy is nowhere near as good as the existing one, but he is a cheap henchman, and that's the upside, whereas the other one is a sidekick. And then also some heavy hitters in terms of some decent guns, or well, one very decent gun, a rocket launcher which doesn't see much use, and just a nice good kind of knife guy in terms of paramilitary guys for Joker. So a lot of stuff to paint. I'm not sure what will get prioritised, 3 Joker related, the Suicide Squad related. It'll just be, you'll see them at some point. There's a lot to get through. Been looking forward to all this arriving. I didn't expect them both to arrive on the same day. That's the downside. Anyway, now comes your bonus extra bit at the end where we look at the Red Lanterns and spit blood at each other. So unlike the Green Lanterns, Yellow Lanterns, Blue Lantern, Orange Lantern releases they've done, download the character cards from nightmodels.com. That part is true. It is true this time. The cards are available. They're still doing it for the DC stuff that you have to download the cards from the website because there's no DC miniature game app. Yeah, so unlike the other Lantern releases they've done, they're actually doing this in 2 parts. So this is the Red Lanterns box, but part of the April pre-orders that are going to open towards the end of the month are another wave of Red Lanterns. A Supergirl Red Lantern, a Drew Gardner Red Lantern, and a new Atrocitus, who presumably will have basically the same stat card as the old Atrocitus Metal Mini, which you will have seen on the channel if you've watched the DC Universe Battle Reports. Also bagged up. Nice. But the new model looks a lot better, but of course it does. It shows how far they've come. I love the man who is just a ball. I don't remember any of these guys' names instantly, except Dexter, of course, who is the best cat. The only good cat. But this is Angry Ball. He looks like he belongs in Big Trouble in Little China. They just have the classic Batman bases, which is a little disappointing. Actually, no, they don't. They must have scenic bases. They've got skulls and blood on them all. Where is it? Oh, it was inside it. Okay, so they do have the scenic bases in there as well. So they're bagged up by character, I guess. Or not. No, they're not. For some reason, man who is also a ball gets his own baggie. The rest get crammed in together. So, what on earth? There's bags inside of bags. Oh, that's a dangerous way to package that. That is the angelic / spider wings for the one with wings. They're just in a baggie, but that really should have been separate because it was getting pressed up against the back by the base here of oh, this is all her. That's why they put it together. Okay, so that's why the wings are in there. I guess it's good that they put the wings in a separate baggie to try and protect them a bit better. I can't see the baggie really helping much, but so hang on, that's all of her. So does that mean Dexter and the other guy is in here? Because you better not have forgotten my Dexter. The cat filled with so much rage that it gets a Red Lantern ring. There's the goat guy's body. Where is Dexter? Oh, they've fallen off, I see, but he is here. There's Dexter. The cat who just wants to get vengeance for its owner's murder. And then this is all their heads. Oh no, it's not. Dexter's tail is a separate bit. That's slightly worrying. There's Dexter's leg, his head. There's all the goat guy's extra bits. So yeah, they were kept sort of together. Like 2 of them are in their own separate baggies, and then the other 2 are in their own baggies. And they all come with Skull and Rivers of Blood themed thematic bases. I'm glad they're doing more thematic bases because they make the models look nicer, and It's a shortcut to doing that instead of just having the cobblestone for everything. Although that said, I believe all the Joker stuff that I just showed you is cobblestone. Let me just check here. Cobblestone, cobblestone. The 3 Jokers all have themed bases, so there's that. But all the henchmen and Gaggy and whatnot, they all have just the bog standard base, which is a bit of a shame. So that's it. That is it for the March releases that arrived in April. Pre-orders this month, more Red Lanterns. They're doing a new version of the 3rd edition starter set themed around the Batman movie, which I'm interested in, mostly just for the Robert Pattinson Batman mini that comes with it. They've been showing off some previews of the miniatures, some previews of the rules as well, on like their Facebook group and Instagram. Interested where that's coming. They're also planning on releasing a new Batman miniature game website, specifically just for the Batman game. It'll be interesting to see how that comes out and what it's used for. If the character cards are on there, for instance, in a printable format, that'd be fantastic. They say they're going to embrace the community with battle reports and whatnot, which would also be nice. Promises are nice. Going through with them is nicer. So we'll have to wait and see before we praise them too much. But in terms of the general quality of this, there doesn't appear to be anything missing. The quality of the sculpts is fantastic. Some of the scenic bases are a little warped, but that's not too bad. One bent javelin is about the worst I could say, and that's not terrible at all for how many miniatures are here. So with that, I sincerely hope you enjoyed watching this and look forward to seeing some of these on the table as soon as, well, not as soon as possible, when they're done. They will be there when they're done, and in the meantime there's plenty of other crews to watch. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. See you next time. Ta-ta for now.